I guess I can. I guess I'm going to go and publish the puzzle on the workshop now, since it's done.
Yes. Yes. All right. Let me download the most recent set of solutions.
Nice.
While I'm doing that, you can. I think you have something to talk about this puzzle's history.
Yes. So basically, this is going to be a preamble, and we're going to go into a bit more depth on when we can actually when we're actually seeing the puzzles that inspired this one. So it was actually almost exactly a year ago. I was solving a puzzle in the workshop, as I usually do, called colored glass, and that puzzle had a rather well. The thing about that puzzle is that it was two huge tonic of what's it called, tonic of wakeness, I think.
Wait for. No, this is hydration, isn't it?
Oh yeah, tonic of hydration, the one with salt, earth, water input, and you have to make the small ring and the big ring output. That one by Shadow Cluster, I think.
Mm.
And basically, it was two outputs like that, and the center of one output was alternating lead, iron, lead, iron, lead, iron, and then the other one was alternating copper, gold, copper, gold, copper, gold, and then on the outside was this air salt thing that you just got you just got through a stabilized air input. And so the inputs were the stabilized air, quicksilver, lead, and copper. So I thought, well, I suppose you can indeed divide the the six metal atoms into like one part of these are the higher metals comprising of copper, silver, and gold, and the lower metals of those being lead, tin, and iron. And so then I played around with that a bit. Uh, the first thing I did was I made this polymer that was the shape of biosteel filament. And so I was thinking, uh, do we do area with this or so or whatever? It's like, nah, I don't want to rip off Panic's excellent biosteel filament output shape, because I mean that one actually worked with area because you didn't have to do so much transmutation. Here you would need to do a bunch of it. So like it didn't feel appealing to me. I couldn't really figure out a good secondary metric. So then I am always, like I always do, I just go to production whenever I like when I see if the idea is actually sound. And so I made basically the puzzle that you all solved, except the chambers were smaller. They were the 5x5 chambers, and I called it like Ravaris Ring. But yeah, it turns out that was already a name of a puzzle in the workshop, so I renamed it Ravaris Greed, posted, and then I like expanded the chambers because like I figured out that no, there's too much latency and too much there's too much bottlenecking happening in everything, so just expand the chambers. Then I posted the puzzle to the weeklies, to the weekly people. Haxton then told me that my lore was anachronistic, and I thank him for doing so because that made me
I don't
write
think I
better
touched it.
lore.
I don't think I touched your lore. It was someone else.
No, you pointed out something that I think you pointed out something. You or someone else. But like anyway, the lore I originally wrote was anachronistic. So yeah.
All right.
And as a consequence, you now have the current lore of it being like Fontenelle's alchemical observation style, like vaccine template.
I see.
And the numbering scheme is 6 because it's the 6th puzzle of the weeklies, and 20 and the 24 is because it's the 2024 weeklies. That's it. Also, the title should be updated, but oh well.
Wait a sec. The Twitch chat isn't. Wait a sec. The Twitch chat isn't showing in on stream. Wait a sec.
Oh well. Take it easy. Yes, Labril. I think that's Labril with the 1, 2, 3, 4 name. Anyway, I did have a couple of the stream title. It says Week 3 Instant Mirror Coat.
I see.
So yeah, I did have a couple of fast-ish solves with the 2 5 and 5 chambers, and I think I had like something that was 350 cycles or something, but that was like stretching. That was really stretching it because you basically pulled everything, and you couldn't even pull it at input speed because like the chamber was so small. It's one thing that is sort of maybe slightly depressing to think of is that this is the first time that production sum has ever been a metric for a community-focused puzzle.
It was almost a metric on Panic's tournament, but yeah.
Oh, so Probe module was almost at some.
Yes.
Ah.
Wait a sec. I need
that
to.
That puzzle does strike me. That does strike me as a summy puzzle. Also, it says week 5. It should be week 6. You fix it whenever you can.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's fine. Growing pains.
I'm still new at this streaming thing, so there might be technical issues.
Yeah, I mean, Zorflex isn't the best at updating titles. He's been doing this for a while, so you're in good company.
Okay. Now it shows up. Okay. Somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. So I'm going to load up the AHK script for wait a sec. There are 26 submitters. Okay. All right. Oh, AHK script loaded. All right. So we are going to look at CG first.
Nice.
these people score better on cycles, so I'm going to skip a bunch of them. We start at 20th place. Slap drill.
Okay, let's see here now. 2 purification glyphs placed rather symmetrically about the unbonder, and the actions done are pretty much just what you have to do in order to solve the puzzle. It's just it's pulling the input at a rather at a rather okay rate for like maybe a first or second attempt.
This one
And,
is
yeah,
29.
symmetry.
This one is 29 rate. There's disassembly chamber handles all the purification. Conduit 2 cannot be reached by. Conduit 2 doesn't get used by any arm but arm 7. So it needs a large pause on the disassembly chamber.
Exactly. It would need at least maybe 2 more arms, maybe 1 or 2 more arms to handle that conduit.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, you should be. Oh yeah, everybody, you should be glad I immediately thought of having 2 conduits, because with just 1 conduit, this puzzle is not interesting for cycles. You get a very obvious bottleneck with the rate.
All right, are we ready to go to the next solve?
Yeah, unless Slab Drill has some notes for us.
Slap drill did not left any notes.
Okay, then I think we see like the general theme of how to solve this puzzle. Now let's see people doing this faster.
19th place, Avenged Ruler, Skyhawk. Skyhawk
Drop a rate.
writes, we'll get them next week.
Yeah, that is
Yes.
indeed rate 28. You have just
We now see the
7.
Yeah. We now see there is another purification glyph on the assembly chamber. So this is a thing you can do. Yes.
Whether or not that creates a bottleneck in the input or the output chamber, that is well, I think Mora detailed this to me, but like I don't remember it. But yeah, I enjoy there being just 1 bonder. That bonder is seeing a lot of action. Of course, there being just 1 bonder and there being that pretty big track at the top of the output chamber does limit how well you can maneuver the intermediary products before output. So that's something to consider.
This one first outputs at 40. This one outputs at 45. So
yeah, 45, and then at every 28
yeah.
after that.
So yeah, there are a lot of atoms. Just being on conduits, glyphs, etc. on the board. So yeah, it is.
It's also interesting to note that the purification glyph in the output chamber is fired twice, and once it the first time you get gold, the second time you get iron.
Indeed. All right.
We are going to be seeing this motif repeated. So yeah, let's see let's just.
This puzzle doesn't really have this puzzle doesn't really give you opportunity to get fancy with different pipelining. It is the one side handles copper, other side handles lead. Then you maybe, and then you can choose to purify here or there.
Yeah, but it is still one pipeline that has to like
merge
split
somewhere
into two, and then it has to merge back again.
Right. Its production saw a lot of cycles. Deep lore is non-canon.
Just the deeper lore is that instead of 2N, you just have 3N. Anyway, I think we have exhausted everything from this solve, don't you think?
Yes. 18th place. Actually, this solve 18th place actually scores better on some, so I'm gonna skip a bunch of them. At 16th place, we have username void.
With a new solution 2. Always nice to see a new solution 2 instead of new solution 1. Hex arms.
Mm-hmm.
Here we see 2 purification glyphs in the input, and then we have 2 bonding stations that are then made into 1 bonding station at the end when the pipelines have to converge. So like it's there we have it being 1. And Biggie is asking if this is 23R and
yes, this is 23R.
Yes, it's 23R because yeah, it's 23. Does username void have notes for this cycle?
No, he doesn't.
Solve?
He also doesn't have notes.
All right.
Let's get to the. All right, so let's get to the next solve. JPIP. Name better cycles 19.2. 19 iterations. This is also at 23 rate. This one has the first output at 35.
Which is why it saves 2 on latency.
Grabbing every 3 is fun, indeed.
Wait, with 23, then
yeah.
Are you? Then you aren't grabbing every 3. If you're grabbing every 3, then you should have 21 rate.
Grabbing every 3 is 21, but the 2 hex arms need to be desynced slightly because the 2 pipelines on the disassembly chamber, they are actually asymmetric.
Oh my god, you're right.
It is due to, yeah, the rank of the metals coming out of the 2 conduits are inverted from each other.
Ah, yeah, that is correct. So the invariant here is the sum of the purity of the metals coming out there. Nice. Pretty unique conduit sequencing.
Mm-hmm. I just saw the Firefox message that I should lower the music volume a bit, so I'm gonna do that while we get to the next solve.
I've got the Twitch stream muted, so I.
All right, 14th place, John. I'm now willing to go under 21R. He did not left notes. This is indeed 21R.
Yeah. So Hexarm 1 is on constant grab, rotate, drop. duty. And then what? Wait. Oh, it's 6p.
Yes. So there's some... And then there's some extra instructions at the end to make sure it loops. Which I think English word
Not that you didn't.
appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to figure out how to make it loop, then you just don't loop it. That's it. It's that simple.
So this one, the final output removes 3 latency by stopping the disassembly chamber. That's what I wrote on my notes.
So it might be worth looking at the final output then.
So the first output. So the output is almost made. But there's only one bond missing, but it waits for several cycles because there is a silver coming out of here, and then this lead also needs to dodge because there's tin coming out.
Ah. And then you can output the output metallic chart. So the final output, there's nothing. The conduits are just empty space, so you can save 3 cycles like that. John says 6p saved 5 cycles. That makes sort of sense. Like, it's like you shave 1 imaginary rate of the last product, and that gives you 5 cycles. I hope you didn't feel too much pain programming all those 1078 instructions, John. If you look at another output, it has to wait twice in its movements. Interesting, yeah. That's a very particular movement, like, strategy. But anyway, we should get to the next solve. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to fully understand this one in a stream like this. Yeah. Next up, who is saying next up in... Actually, they are celebrating themselves that they are above 14th place. Team Gemius 42. Ah. All right, I'm going. They do have notes. For cycles, first I, 42 Genius 42, came up with 165, which seemed not too bad for me, shared with Jemu, who quickly got it down to 158. After spotting that we could just swing the product to the output 2 cycles earlier than what I had, based on the sum solution. Though the sum solution we now have also managed to incorporate this way. After further instruction timing and refining dabbling, I got it down to 142, a suitable number. So a great team effort here for Team Gemius 42. The building takes longer than the tearing apart of the metal reagent, so it is hard to see how the left-hand side chamber can be more efficient. I do gotta say I love the left hand chamber. It's like It's like
Very
4
symmetric, yeah.
pipelines. It's 4 pipelines, really. Because one pipeline is getting the lead getting the lead out. One pipeline is getting the copper out. Then the other pipeline is ensuring you purify the tin. So you get tin and silver and iron and gold.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very symmetric. Very invisible ink vibe. Also, the output is very, very slick.
This swing.
Nice job. Nice work.
Done just as the copper is spawning, and yes, this is 22R. No. Yes, this is 22R. So I'm going.
So it beat a solve that was 100. That was like 21R, with just having better latency.
Mm-hmm. John's solve drops the first output at 46. This one drops the first output at 32. Yes.
Yeah, that would do it.
All right. So we are going to move on to the next solve. By Fuyu. Shudo arm arms V5. Shudo arm arms, indeed.
That is indeed an arm thing that we're looking at. Very Molixent has like, with all the arms at the edge.
This is a 20R solve. And
so we are, yeah, so that means we are officially below the single conduit min rate.
Ah, right. Also, yeah, very slick assembly. Single conduit rate 18.
Yeah.
Yes, single conduit rate is 18. Ah, right.
Wait, 18. Oh, right.
Yeah, 21R is the every 3 input rate, yeah. Below the hexarm limited input pooling idea. Yes.
Which means from now on, probably from now on, we're not going to be seeing any more hex arms pulling the regent. Pretty good solve, yeah. Does you have any notes?
No.
All right.
So it on 11th place, missing the top 10 by 1 place. Mr. Royal Spade. 127 cycles. I got over ambition this puzzle and started with the min rate attempt. I spent the first day making my left chamber because 7 inputs 1 output. And because 7 inputs equals 1 output, I needed extra lead and copper to be pullable from both states, whether or not there's a metal already on the projection. After I got it working, I realized how much I'd underestimated the building aspect. I needed to project an iron, a gold, and build everything in 14 cycles. I eventually gave up and went for a longer period, but I kept my left chamber the same as a memento. I'm sure I can lower the cost, but I'm not thrilled with the cycles anyway, so it's good enough as is. I might get beat by solves who purify everything in one chamber, but I honestly believe this approach is theoretically sound. If I were better at production, maybe I could achieve my P28-2P dreams. I'm happy with this, and I'm excited to see the top solves.
I just gotta say, I love the bi-arm in the output chamber.
Mm-hmm.
It really, like, does justify itself being exactly a bi-arm.
Any other arm wouldn't work because of wrong grabs and by arm, but it has to be a multi-arm because there's just no time to reset.
Exactly. It just has to be a bi-arm. There's no other way around it.
And the triangle really ties the room together. Indeed, the arm 14 also has a pretty neat multitasking here. So it purifies then handles the output of it.
Yeah, like one thing that I'm noticing about this solve is that the triangle track that piston 14 is on is actually never grazed by any of the atoms that are being bonded there. So you could have potentially put 2 more pistons on that track loop, and maybe sped up the output chamber a little bit.
This left chamber could be 14R, right? Probably.
Yeah, Mr. Oilspay
that's what
did
Mr.
say
Oilspay writes on his notes.
Yeah, he did say that he started out with the left chamber really being 14R. So this is indeed output chamber limited.
So now we should enter the top 10 solves.
Then number 10 is...
Top 10 egg sucker. Stop and smell the copper. This is pseudo 18R. The first output is at 34, but the first output is at 34, but the true latency is a bit later than that because yeah, the inputs are so the repeating portion, there's a pause, there should be a pause here, but the repeating, given the repeating portion, but since at the beginning there's no atoms here, you can speed up a little bit.
But then you have to slow down, and then you have to just... Yeah. I wonder if you could make this loop by, like... No, you probably can't. You probably can't. I do like that pivot that it does at the end where it bonds the iron and the copper together. Arm 17 does it.
Yes.
That's a very nice pivot. Pretty good. Pretty good stuff.
Pivot of the week? Just you wait.
Yeah, there are slightly better pivots.
At 9th place, 100 Kelly Reese's 121 cycles.
11 squared.
This is also pseudo 18R. There's the final output can be outputted faster than usual because there's nothing coming out through the conduit, so this swing is possible.
Right, yeah.
Also, yeah, 18R with no purification in assembly.
It also uses the big and rather chunky multi-bonder. Nice work. Like, is there...
This is I'll just spoil that this isn't the last time we are going to see multi-bonder.
Indeed, you are correct with that.
So
I like the myriad of just length one single arms in the input chamber. They all pull their work. I also like how they're grabbing the input at the same time, and so that means that the only viable, like, actual extraction method for getting the input in is track sliding.
All right, are we ready to go? Are we ready to see the next sword?
Yeah, I think we are.
At 8th place, Biggie Limina, 1 to 16R, got 17R with high latency IDK.
Hey
Greetings.
there, can you hear me?
Greetings.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, there wasn't any notes for this, but I was playing Balatro for most of this week, so this was basically 2 sittings. The first one where I had a 23R that I was like, this needs to be faster. And then sitting down with this left chamber that was capable of doing 16R, but the right chamber slows it down. There's the piston at the top that has, unfortunately, just one too many instructions before it's able to loop. So this could be 16R. I made something that I sent to Yosh at one point where it was 16R, but there was an arm outside of the chamber helping out. But 16,
Yeah, we do a little cheating.
16 was only really a goal because that's the left chamber that I built. The left chamber I built does 16, but certainly there could be ways to do 14. We've already kind of seen them. So, and this one also saves 2 cycles with 6P, which wouldn't have mattered because Kali Rhesus was 3 cycles behind it. So there's another version of this 1P, and there's 120 cycles instead.
120. You could have. That's like the Super Mario 64 number. That would have been dope.
120 star, yeah, for sure. I would say that this team is probably capable of better things than this week's effort shows because we were both very preoccupied. Unfortunately, for Spectre Lumina's case, it was with COVID, and for my case, it was somebody gifted me Balatro for my birthday, and then I played it for like a week straight.
Understandable. It is just a weakless after all.
And it's a production puzzle, which is hard for me to get super duper inspired by. There will be some puzzles that I'm like, okay, well, I will drop everything for this, but those are puzzles like Sophic Mercury, where it cycles gold and then Burrito Frontier in an open space. Like, okay, wait, I can spend my entire life thinking about this. Well, for a production puzzle, I appreciate production puzzles, but they do not hook me the same.
It needs to be specifically in the tournament where it actually matters.
I mean, yeah, that's because I'm just trying to be competitive.
You did place 4th in Dental Amalgam CG, so...
So Twitch chat
Yeah,
drew
that's
attention to
nature.
the arm 9, which regulates the timing of the tin here, and at one point it actually stores the tin into the track to make the swing work.
Yeah, there was
slick.
2 different ideas for this input chamber, one of which had no delay, and so it was really hard to assemble everything because they both wanted the purifier at the same time. If I did some delay, then the tin that you could purify would be the final 2 tin, while the silver you would purify were the first 2 silver, and that added some latency, but it made it easier to actually get 17R working. 16R still escaped me.
I see. All right. Are we?
I also like that 2 of the arms on that for each track loop you have 2 normal arms and you have 1 piston.
Right, the piston is there to pull the input without moving the arm base. Has to
I
happen
see.
at one point.
There.
Because otherwise it wouldn't be able to... I don't remember exactly why, but it worked out best this way. I'm looking at it thinking, my justification doesn't make sense, but I don't remember what the justification actually was. It also does the swing through the dropped purifier, which I think is cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
There's 9, or this is 8 other people better than this, so let's not understand what they are doing. 7 other people better than this.
Alright,
Happy to move on and see then.
Yeah, let's move on to the 7th place solve. 7th place, Coco 52, 117 cycles.
New solution 47? That's a lot of solutions.
Yeah, but those 7 people conspired to buy Balatropol. That's the real reason they won.
That's the real. Now there are real conspiracy theories in this community.
This triangle
chamber is very
busy.
It's very chaotic. You have what is it? It's like you have 2 arms are length 2, and then the other one is length 1, and then their top track loop does.
They are all grabbing and delivering things to different places.
Yeah, it's very, very chaotic. I would assume that. Okay, how does this transfer the lead to the output chamber? How does it get there? How does it get there?
Use solution 47. Is it? Is it a reference? I don't think I played Hitman series. I don't think I played Hitman series, so I don't know if that's a line from Hitman series, but. Yeah.
Oh, you know, the name of the main character in the Hitman games is called Agent 47, so I think that's the reference. Okay, Arm 7.
Scoots
7. Okay, so that's how the lead gets through. That was very complex. The
Arm 7 extends once, then Arm 7 extends once, then retracts once. I really appreciate
Oh yeah, it extends once, and then to make the iron, it retracts the tin.
Yes.
Pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, as JP says on Twitch chat, I don't know if they have submitted over 47 solves onto the weeklies, but over 47 solves this weekly, but yeah, the person who submitted the most this weekly is this week is JP. 47 solves is less than 7 solves per day. So we shall
New solution 1 copy. Yeah, we can move on.
We shall move on.
The lead movement was fascinating.
Fiesta Learn. Still at 117 cycles. But much cheaper. This solve is the brainchild of a remarkably iterative process, or perhaps not so remarkable, given how often that happens in production C. Anyway, we targeted input speed 14R from the very beginning. Our first strategy did this conventionally, with 2 pistons pushing inputs at P4. The problem was that all the supporting machinery limited us to only 2 purifiers in the left chamber and 3 overall. That stressed conduit use and overall geometry significantly. Our opening bit clocked in at 209 cycles, with gradual improvements dropping to 166. But we were stuck at 24R, with the input piston sitting idly for significant periods. Looking at that constricted rate, we reasoned we might as well try pseudo period 3, which minimizes to 21R. and can use much less machinery. The pair of pistons was replaced by a 4-tape hexarm, and we could now fit 4 purifiers and run at a much more relaxed cadence. The hexarm did need to pause for 1 cycle to extract the atomic lead needed for the product, but we achieved 22R on the first try. New benchmark set at 152 cycles. Looking to cut that last rate point, we turned for ideas to Dental Amalgam, a recent cabinet puzzle that also utilizes Pseudo Period 3. Here we must credit Ebonlove and Transcendental Guy, who demonstrated the power of the fully loaded triangle tray handling inputs. This takes the same footprint as the hexarm, but the independence of the grippers freed us from the need to pause. It also trimmed some latency. New benchmark set at 21 rate 140 cycles. After puttering about with some for a while, we returned to cycles, and it was immediately blindingly obvious that the Tringle track input strategy is by no means limited to Pseudo Period 3. It can theoretically move at input speed, that thing we tried and abandoned at the start. In this geometry, there's a 1 cycle pause each time the lead purifier triggers, but very little adjustments was needed for the very same machine to reach 14 plus 3 equals 17R. All we needed to do was add a third arm to the lower Tringle track, task it with extracting 1 copper from the usual flow. Massive drop from 140 cycles to 117 cycles, and here we rest. We see no reason on paper that 14R should be impossible. In addition, we use a purification strategy that creates ion blast, which is the very worst possible for latency. Based on that, it seems like sub 100C is very much on the table. What you want, Morakonda? NB, we felt bad for the hole in the center of the output, which was the only hex without its own glyph or mechanism. They looked sad, so we decided to award them a shiny calcification glyph. 100% unique, nobody else has one. You deserve it, Donuts.
Very nice notes as always from any solve that comes from Fiesta. And also, yeah, as Twitch chat has been pointing out, that calcification glyph is swag.
Let's see if it... Okay, it doesn't win against the next solve, so this is also amazing how full the entire thing is, and it still manages to be cheaper than the previous solve.
Yeah, I guess that means this one had fewer pistons, maybe.
Maybe.
Because like purification is still as expensive as a regular arm.
Purifiers are cost effective for their area, true.
Yeah, I can count 5 pistons in the solve. Arm 4, 8, 10, 11, and 14. Nice solve. Are we ready to jump into the top 5?
At 5th place, Team Hello Jason, 116 cycles. And cheaper than the previous solve. You could probably go lower than this with the second stage of purification happening in the right chamber, but ain't nobody got space for that.
Tri-arm. And very, very spacious output chamber. I like that the input like diamond track is so close to the middle of the chamber, because that obviously cleanly splits the work into 2 like sub chambers.
Right. Copper goes to the top of the chamber while lead goes to the bottom of the chamber, and then
yes,
yeah.
And then you get something with the tri-arm 6 doing magic.
Mm-hmm. All right, are we
Pretty
ready
good
to go to the? Are we ready to look the fourth place?
Yeah, I think we are.
At fourth place, Sergi D. Why not Min? 114 cycles.
That's some pistons. That's a lot of pistons. Everything there a piston. Everything there is a piston. That's 400 G of pistons.
And arm 6 doesn't even piston.
True, it doesn't even piston. It could have been 610 G.
It can be 14R on the right.
Oh, and arm 1 doesn't
right.
have to be a piston either.
Right.
So this could have been, what, 590 G.
This is very similar to Biggie's chamber.
Yeah, it is. It's
Biggie's chamber.
Yeah, it is very similar. It's almost exactly the same.
So let's read the notes. Pretty interesting puzzle that got me pretty frustrated because I couldn't manage to get min rate and therefore getting close to min cycles. I had to settle for 17 rate instead of min rate 14, even though the left chamber layout supports min rate. To get min rate instead of passing one metal of each kind through each conduit, the chamber doesn't output gold, iron, and outputs 3 purified inputs plus 1 non-purified input through each conduit instead. This min rate would force the output chamber to do the purification, but unfortunately, I couldn't find an assembly chamber that managed to do so. I am confident someone else did manage to find the proper right chamber with purification. I also didn't pursue trying to squeeze a purifier in the output chamber and to speed up the whole solution by mixing 14 rate and 17 rate products to reduce latency, using the downtime in the arms on the right chamber to purify some of the metals for the 14 rate products. P.S. I would have loved to finish my sum layout but didn't get the time. It was just the same left chamber but with 3 length 3 arms on the track loops and making the track loops 1 tile longer. My guess is some in this puzzle is going to rely on focusing on cycles, as each output requires 7 inputs with lots of purification involved. This puzzle reminded me of Purified Gold Sum in a way. And yes, it requires arm 1 and 6 never pistons.
No, arm 7 needs to be a piston.
Arm 1 and 6 use it to piston in the 14R version.
Cool. Or unfortunate, because I mean,
does it
that was 40G.
Does it make this lose against any solutions? Yes.
Really?
At third place, Ebonov at 610G.
Oh no! Top 3. That's stupid.
Rest in peace.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
So yeah, Ebonov.
Oh my.
Use it to Ebonov. So the my note says 18R, but this is, as you can see from the title, this has been submitted pretty close to the deadline. So this is now 17R. Also, yeah, conjure phasing in this solution. Very nice. And the multi-bonder, allowing the last bond, allowing pretty
the
fast
iron to
assembly.
bond easily. Yeah, the iron. Yeah, it allows the iron to bond to the tin and the copper at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is brutal. Imagine losing this to the secondary by 10G when you could have had by 20G when you could have a secondary that's 40G cheaper. Like, wow. That is brutal.
That assembly doesn't even look real.
No, it does not look real. It looks like someone just smoked some weed and then
First output at 29.
Here's some.
Yeah, this is pretty fast.
Oh my God, Surgeon D is saying he could have had a 113 cycles if he had that output chamber.
However, that wouldn't have been mattered. Second place, Mr. Piozo, 111 cycles. Yes, this is 16R. Cyclish. RPO had a partial solution with an input chamber running at pseudo period 14.5, but we couldn't get the output chamber to keep up with it. This here is a pseudo period 16. The output chamber can be simple because the input chamber spends some time sorting the material. Atoms in conduit 1 are purification feed, while atoms in conduit 2 go straight to the bonder. Ah. Interesting. So yeah, this is ARM. This arm can access both of the. These two arms can access both of the conduits, so it pushes tin or silver, depending on whether it needs to be purified or not.
Fascinating. And you have the purifier in the output chamber too to make the iron and gold.
Mm.
Pretty nice solve. I like that this is... What, is this like 2P?
This is 3P.
3P.
Right now.
First place?
Yes, first place. Congratulations. Psy looks away. Why 3P? That's because there are 3 arms on the track loop.
Fixing our copy. That's why the Soul won. It had copies. That's just how you know the Soul is better. There's copies. Oh wait, it won on the secondary. It won on the secondary.
Yes.
By how much? I didn't really track the secondary on Mr. Puzzle's solution.
85.
Wow, that's a massive shape.
So yeah, the one purifier, 3 purifiers versus 2 purifiers, it continued to show up throughout the entire solution stream, but in the end, less glyphs, cheaper, apparently.
Yeah, makes sense. Pretty nice solve. I guess Psy looks away has had a bit of an experience with purification recently. I mean, they did this whole theory crafting about purified gold with rates.
Ah.
And now they have discovered, and now using that knowledge that they have discovered an infinite epsilon family of Pareto solutions on destabilized water with rate Pareto. No, wait, it's with primary and then it's rate gold instructions, I think. Something. It's insane. It's insane. Look it up.
Right.
Yeah. Does he have notes for the solve, or is it just here's a cool solve?
Alright, ARM 6, 7, and 9 and the regrab on lead all limit this to 16 arcs, so I'm interested to see if anyone got lower rates. Maybe a purifier in the assembly chamber would let you avoid the hitch where the purifiers are reused. I am continuously surprised at how hard these kind of puzzles are if I go in expecting to hit a certain metric, and by how I fly past those goals by instead iterating on a mediocre solution.
Is that where the notes end?
What?
I mean, you said something about iterating on a mediocre solution. Is that where the notes end?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, I just want to say, in Opus Magnum we have 2 games. This here is game number 2. Game number 1 is when you're in free space. So like, your mindset has to be different, and I think Sai looks away had the best mindset of just making something mediocre and then iterating on the mediocre stuff. Because like you gotta almost like you can't really you gotta get good at each individual production puzzle almost. That's why it's so exhausting. Because in free space you have a lot of general ideas that can apply to most puzzles, but in production you need to like think of a lot more details, and so I guess I fully understand that's why people don't like production as much as they like free space. I fully understand that.
Still, there are some while like on free space cycles there are rules, but on production there's only guidelines, though there are some skills that do translate between free space versus production, I'd say.
Yeah, but with production you have to get good at each puzzle individually. A skill with this puzzle is not going to transfer to any other production puzzle. You're gonna have to start from scratch. But in free space you can have a couple of like general motifs, like, okay, so here is a way I know to make quintessence fast and cheap. Here is from just a single salt and burlow. Here, like, you have all those ideas, but they go out but you can't really use those templates when you are working in production. In production, you have to like constantly reinvent the wheel every single time you start solving a new production puzzle, and that I think is why a lot of people dislike production, because like that is a lot of brain power to like come up with
for a single puzzle even.
Yeah, for a single puzzle, then just know that, okay, well, the next production puzzle, I'm not going to be able to use anything that I've learned here. You just have to reinvent the wheel every time.
Also in free space C, it's easier to test things, yes. Still pretty reasonable
almost
argument, yeah.
Yeah. That's why, like, with when Cycles has been in the primary for production, which it has always been, right? Like, for every single production puzzle that was actually difficult to solve, like, obviously the pitched up experiment is an entirely different thing altogether.
Right.
But yeah, like, it's always when Cycles is the thing, it's almost always the winner wins on primary. Here it was winning by secondary, which is very rare. So yeah. And also the fact that you can't even do CGI as a metric, because then you don't get looping solves. I actually joked about this in the weekly channel, like, hey, what if the metric? What if we told people the metric was CG, but it was actually CGI? Wouldn't that be funny?
Biggie, you are correct. Mora does have 0th place. But that's because of host privileges.
Yeah, this soul was not all 100%.
This was
Mora's.
So this right chamber, it was Evonov's old chamber.
And it optimizes cycles and cost, but then it maximizes instructions. Just like at arms 9 and 14. They're having a wiggle. Also, arm 10 is having a little wiggle. They're having a little wiggle. Wiggle party. Also calcification, so I guess it's not optimizing for cost either. It's just you have calcification. Because why not?
I mean the but yeah, this is 16R with better latency. So he wins on latency.
And it wins on wiggling. Wiggle.
I doesn't matter anyway.
Right. That's why the metric is CG and not CGI.
Is lower rate impossible? I'm not the expert. Maybe we should ask Murakon. By the way, like, she only rides. Could probably save a latency or two if you tried.
Yeah, so, but like, I would imagine that at least like 14.5 is possible. No, but 15.5. But yeah, like getting it below that sounds very challenging. Especially when you only have a week to look at it. And having to optimize another metric.
Speaking about another metric, I'll load up the... should we move on to the sum solves?
Yes, we should. And actually, this week we got actually a main game production sum record being lowered a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, we saw Wuthering Thermite being lowered first by Kazian to 554. And then I lowered that to a 552. And then Rebix comes in and lowers that to a 547 with the duplication glyph instead of purification glyph. And using the salt input. So now we have a Welding Thermite record that actually uses the duplicator and the salt input, which is very nice.
Alright, I also have to skip through several solves because they were already covered in the cycle solve. Alright. At 20, we start at the 20th place. by non-happy. This one is
954.
This one is 65 rate. So the lab chamber looks like this could have been the cycle soul, but the assembly chamber, yeah, assembling a hexagonal ring in Opus is surprisingly hard.
Yeah, just look at life sensing potion area. You gotta put the input in the middle of the ring, like what? Yeah,
the easiest way to assemble it is just put the arm inside the hole. Unfortunately, that you cannot output at that side.
Yeah, no, you can't do it. You need at least how much space do you need? I think you need at least another hex.
Mm-hmm.
And you need at least 2 hexes.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to output a ring with an arm in the middle of the ring.
Just use quantum track. Indeed.
Or overlap. And I think here we are seeing indeed the thing that someone said about some being very much addicted by cycles, because like yeah.
Alright, we shall move on to 19th place. Avenged Ruler and Skyhawk. This one is much more sun-minded and shows a much better balanced triplet.
4 purification glyphs though.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of purification glyphs.
And a lot of pistons on the assembly chamber.
Yeah.
Did anyone make a one-chamber sword? We shall see. I haven't looked into the showcases at all.
But something that I've been appreciating with these sum solves is that they just loop. Because you don't want to 6-speed this. If you do, then your sum goes to shit. One day we will have the true production sum metric, which is cycles plus cost plus instructions times the ratio of hexes used.
I don't know about that. But I don't know. You should make a puzzle tailored to that metric. Then maybe I'll consider. But anyway, at 18th place, 70 Storm, Full Metal Alchemist.
The reference is obvious.
This is actually slower than the previous one, but it is cheaper. Yeah.
I wonder if you could have saved some instructions here by not like fiddling around with having so many storage spots for your atoms. I don't know.
Well, I mean, one storage is needed because storage is kind of needed, though, because you need to you don't want to use many purifiers, and
True,
you need to
yeah.
purify twice. Yeah. All right, we shall move on.
We shall.
17th place by Subboy. This actually scored better on some than Cycles. Hexarms. A single Hexarm. Makes a seed and bonds the last item. And Arm1 sets the pace, and everything else is geared. Everything else, it just needs to do. It just follows 28 rate. Length 3 gold swing.
Yeah, it's arm 11. Look at the arm 11 swinging the goal at him.
Mm-hmm. Was this one that would have been 17th or 18th cycles? As I remember, it would have been worse than that, but I don't know. It's a few tens of minutes old, so maybe that has been changing. But... So nice Hexarm tech. Making a seed
Pretty
and
nice, yeah.
Making a seed and bonding the missing atom is used in using some souls. So, all right, we shall move on though.
Yes.
16th place, Pray for Mercy. This also scores better on some. They only submitted a single solution, but this scored better on some, so I...
Axon people are telling, people are saying that the stream is lagging a little bit.
Oh, okay. Alright. VPN.
Rip. Oh well. We're back.
Hopefully.
Nice. Let's keep going then. Oh wait, we didn't even see Pray for Mercy sold. Now, okay, yeah, now it's on screen. Great. We can just keep, yeah.
So Pray for Mercy, they also scored better on some than Cycles. Yeah. So the build order, interesting that the build order mandates that you switch the lead and copper.
That's very interesting, yeah.
Also nice Hexarm, but too much pistons probably.
Yeah. This one reminds me of a solve that's on the proof of completeness. Bestagon Perito or something. Because it does exactly this, because it does something, yeah, it does something like where it's very symmetric. I think it was the B record before I got it down to its actual min of 3.
Alright, we are going to move on though.
Yes, we are.
Surgery D. Some socks. There also there was a there was a large drop of the sum score between the two solves. This left chamber, this is very familiar.
Is that just Surgery Cycles thing?
Yes. Cycle solve adaptive for solve, yes. I implemented some on time but did not optimize it, so ignore my cycle solve. P.S. Comments. The last part of the instruction tape feels clunky, but I didn't find a way to fix it. I wouldn't be surprised at winning some around 500. The ordering of the metals can probably be swapped so everything can be built with less eye and less track. Because each puzzle requires so many purifications, the heavy costs and low cycles seem justified. I tried using hexams, but didn't find anything worthwhile.
The lesson here is track loops, big track loops, big cost, big expensive, no good. Wait, what's that? It like loads up a tin silver thing on the input. That's wild.
That's very slick input suppression, yeah. ARM 8, yeah, nothing can. It doesn't have time to go back to this hex, so ARM 8 just passes it through the input.
Pretty fancy. And then it just grabs a ghost 8th input, which is that silver tin thing.
Also, note this assembly chamber. We are going to see this motif very common.
Yes, that motif is going to be basically everything in the top 10, maybe. It is very powerful.
About ATG, about what is it? 46 instructions. All right, we are going to see the next solve. Slap drill. 210G. Much cheaper than the previous solve. Much slower, but it's cheaper.
And I think it's simpler too. Like, I guess I should say that whenever I compare it to production solves and I say that see that one solve has fewer instructions, then I call the one with fewer instructions the simpler solve.
Speedrun. Speed solve. Was this actually a speed solve?
Wow.
Oof.
Competitive speed solve. Just goes to show that sometimes grand ideas are not always the best. I think the reason this scores so well is because it is so cheap. There's no track anywhere. There's only one piston.
Only
like
6
the
arms
instructions
total.
that are
Almost.
Yeah, the instruction.
It's like 1D wonder, 2 wonders, 2 purification. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the instruction tape is relatively full, so it is not sacrificing much on cycles.
Yeah.
So we shall move on.
Yes, to 13th place.
13th place by Big Liminal.
Calcium states that some like simplicity, so I don't know, do it the obvious way gets you surprisingly good scores. True.
I think that was the case here. Biggie says that this solve was all Spectral Liminal.
Yeah. Spectre actually DM me a lot in the like early days of the week, but then of course she got sick, so yeah.
Also,
I hope
first sub 700.
I like the Hex Arm doing the Hex Arm. See that we've already seen it, but here we see it in. Is it faster or is it just? No, I think it's just a lot simpler. Cool sold.
So Hex Arm Hex Arm in the assembly chamber and the input chamber.
Yeah, that Hex Arm not needing to reset saves you a lot of instructions.
Also, it is also grabbing the two things at the same time.
Exactly. It has a lot of jobs, that one. It needs to like grab the input, it needs to also like rotate it again so it gets loaded on the purification glyph, etc. Yeah. Good stuff. Maybe the copper transportation to the output chamber could be done a little bit simpler, but hey. Oh hey, what's that? Arm 4. Look at Arm 4. It grabs the copper and then it goes up and then it grabs the silver, so it makes the gold. Very nice arm.
Hand up on the conduit. But we shall move on to the 12th place.
Yes. We shall.
By Mr. Royal Spade. I'm very inexperienced at cabinet some puzzles, so I fell into some easy pitfalls. The main mistake I made was overvaluing instruction saves. There were a few times where I removed the regrab, trading 4 instructions for 1 period increase. It wasn't until later that I realized those 4 instructions cost me 6 cycles, and that it was mainly a battle between cost and speed. This solve isn't very good. I only spent a day on it. The multi-bonding glyph realistically should just be a regular bonder, but I'm not a huge production fan, so this is good enough for me. I'm curious to see if we'll have any 1/2p or 1/6p solutions. I tried it, but it was too clunky. I'm hoping that seeing other people's solutions will highlight tricks that can be used to reduce some for the future. So yeah, the right chamber is very similar. Very familiar.
The thing about fractional P in this puzzle is, unfortunately, you have to count to 7, and that's a very awkward Opus Magnum number.
Indeed.
Yeah, like this is mostly Mr. Royal Spade's cycle solved, so yeah.
Indeed. It's not just only having to count to 7, but it's not just only having to count to 7, but two of the each atom needs to be done different things on it.
Exactly. So you need to count to 7 in many different places of the chambers, and like that's difficult.
Like count to 7 isn't that bad, yeah. As Biggie points out on the Twitch chat, but
have we seen everything from this solve? I mean, the dual rotors are nice, but yeah.
I guess so. At 11th
so, like,
place.
The right chamber is mostly the cycle solved, so yeah. Nothing, like, 100% new, but still something new.
At 11th place, Team Jamius 42, Sum 632. I, Genius42, came up with the some solution first, had a 688 for a while, but some right-hand side chamber fiddling managed to reduce down to 632. Hard to tell what a good sum score would be. If someone's 160 or better, the instructions, somehow you can knock a lot off the score, but I can't see an easy way to do this. The right-hand side chamber here is almost identical to the one in our cycle solution, with 2 arms and 1 bundle less in exchange for a few cycles more and different conduit positions.
Ooh, conduit number 2 being straight in the middle of the output glyph.
And also conduit passes, some atoms have to pass back through the disassembly chamber for purifying.
Yeah. Have we seen everything from this solve now, or are there any more notes?
There was hexarm input chamber, but it cannot grab directly, so arm 1 has to pass off the input onto the 2 hexarms. So very satisfying. But we're going to move on to the top 10. Username void. 608 points.
New solution 2. Copy.
Period 3 hexons. We'll pseudo period 3.
And a big pause at the beginning of the tape.
So this is 33R, and the right chamber has 34 instructions, 85 cost. Yeah, very fancy and yet simple. The assembly chamber.
Oh, you get some input suppression also. Look at this. There's a silver that goes all the way around. And this is the same thing we saw in Sergi D's solve, because there is a silver tin pair that gets there at the same time.
Right. Yeah, that... Very nice.
The delay at the beginning is also cool. Are we ready to move on to the next solve? I think we are, unless there are some notes we missed.
Sure. There's no notes, so let's move on.
Alright, so then moving on.
9th place, X-Soccer 888. Also sub 600. I hope this machine will change the world. Very cheap. Only 1 bundle, 1 D-bundle, and 5 arms.
This is definitely on the cheaper side of things. I do not understand what these 2 hexarms are doing, but they're doing something. They're doing something,
it has to do
but
some
I do not understand
complicated movement to deliver each atom to the correct conduit, and then yeah, the 2 hexarms just do so much things that it is very hard to. It's somewhat difficult to pause. Yeah.
Yeah, like hexarm 1 does a double rotate a couple of times, and then like it it's so complex, but yet like it just does everything that it needs to do, and also it's trackless. Very cool sold, very cheap, and yeah, this one is definitely on the lower like cheap like cost and instructions like part of the equation.
This has 40 rate, but that's to allow the 2 hex arms to do everything, to like handle everything, almost everything on the disassembly chamber. So I think that's the point.
Yeah, because like arm 1 can only ever have 7 grab instructions on its instruction tape.
Right.
Because if it had more, then it would grab like more inputs, and it shouldn't grab more than 7. But I wonder how many grab instructions Arm 2 has. Probably like about 7 as well. Maybe no, it has a lot more, because it can have a lot more, because it does not actually need to concern itself with grabbing the input.
Have we seen? I think we've seen this. I think we are ready to move on to the next sold though.
Yes, we are.
Cool this sold is. At 8th place, Ebono. Is it 6p deterrence again? I probably have a very cheap chamber, but I don't know which one. Making gaps in Hexarm Purification Cube or Helper Arm to insert stuff is very Hexarm headachy, so this one is good.
Here we see some storage being done by arms 4 and 3. They store silver and tin, and indeed we do have like a pseudo silver tin ore extract input.
So Hexarm 1 and 2 are completely decent kit. Very interesting.
Arms 1 and 2?
Yes.
Yeah. That is a very like interesting.
Some seems to make interesting construction chambers. We'll see.
No, it does not. I'm just gonna spoil it right now. We are not gonna be seeing a lot of diversity in the top souls. Are we done here? Yes. Like the thing that's interesting here are the weird hex arms, and like we could stare at these for hours and not understand them. So I think it would be best if we just moved on.
At 7th place, Miss Tarpiozo, Capsum, 576 points. Also the input suppression motif on
and also having matching tin and silver on the hexars. But here we have
Hexarm,
two instances of matching.
So the construction chamber, that's Hexarm building two halves in parallel, and then that's the pivot of the week. I think that's the pivot of the week.
Yeah, and Arm 5 is truly the Ravaris wheel of everything. Because it is an arm that has all 6 metals in the right order, in the right orientation as well.
Right.
We know Ravaris is very particular about that.
Right.
And also, yeah, in the input chamber, we have 2 silver, tin silver, or extract pairs.
After everything is done, the 3 atoms just go. The 6 atoms go through the 2 conduits in 9 cycles, and allowed ARM5 to pivot. Very slow.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the minimum amount of cycles required to pass 6 atoms through 2 conduits.
Mm-hmm.
Not pivot of the decade. No. There's probably better pivots.
So there's a brief note. I'm happy that I could reuse the purification clips to this extent. 586 seems high, but that's comparing it to regular sum. Maybe it's about right for cabinet sum. 7th place is not bad at all, I'd say. So
yeah, especially for a metric as unexplored as this.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh no, Mr. Royal Spade, don't study these solutions. No, just solve. That's the thing you call study for cabinet solutions. You just gotta toss it down and get better at the specific puzzle that you are trying to optimize.
But anyway, we are going to move on to the 6th place solve.
Mm-hmm.
For you, 578 points.
Nice solution name too. Rotary refining, and indeed, this is rotary refining.
Also, this output chamber, we have seen this before.
Yes, and we are about to see it. We are about to see versions of this in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
This one doesn't feature the silver tin pair in the. This one doesn't.
So
this one doesn't.
It uses the conduit itself as a storage via handing off directly on the conduit.
Yeah, I like that. The shove that arms 5, 6, and what's that? 3 and 4 are doing. That it's like, oh. Well, guess we gotta make the iron and the gold. Okay, just shoot all of them up. Pretty nice usage of the conduits as storage. Gotta love an OMF happening at the same time as an OMR.
So this one is 26 rate.
Biggie says this puzzle is so metal, and I think she is right. It is almost maximally metal.
There's nothing but metal on this puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah, that was also a thing I considered when making this puzzle. Like, the 2023 Weeklies had one metal puzzle. I was like, nah, we're just gonna have a full metal puzzle. And also, this is the only weekly tournament and appendix and journal production puzzle that is only about purification. You'd think silver paint would be up there, but no, it has the stabilized water part. If you want a production purification puzzle, if people want another one of those, then I would recommend Voltaic Dust on the workshop.
Alright, are we ready to move on?
We are.
Alright, 5th place, JPIV.
Better Cycles 18.2 sum, question mark, version 4.3 alteration 5. This is almost as confusing as Homestuck Act numbers. Almost.
So this one is also a different assembly chamber. ARM7 has access to both conduits, and ARM8 just translates and pivots so that it makes a ring. Oh,
and I like that the conduits are placed at like so close to each other, which means that grabbing the atoms that come through the conduits is much simpler because you only need to use 4 instructions.
Mm-hmm. In fact, ARM7 only has one empty cycle in its 25R loop.
Yeah, that's a very efficient. That's one of the best arms that we've seen. It just does the thing it needs to do. Act 6, Act 6, Act 6, Act 1. Act 6, Act 6, Act 5, Act 1.
Also, purification is still backwards for one of them.
That one isn't real. Oh wait, this also does the silver. Does this do the silver tin thing that we've seen? No, it does not.
So.
No, it does not. Oh yeah, because the gold,
silver, copper thing is done. It doesn't have the input suppression, so no.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, basically this does this from the extremes to the middles to the middle. So the copper is copper and iron. That's the way to go, apparently.
All right. Are we ready to move on?
We are.
All right. At 4th place, Psy looks away. 571 some. Oh yeah, and that thing returns.
This time with just 2 hexes of track.
Mm-hmm. And the disassembly chamber seems strangely familiar.
Yeah, it does.
ARM3, yeah. ARM3 only has 6 instructions in its tape, but maybe that's not too bad. Maybe that's not too bad because instructions is one of the components for the sum.
Yeah, so that ARM is like
what it's like. It maybe could be. It might be better if it was cheaper, but yeah.
Who knows? Like with the absence of that one, maybe the cycles count goes a bit high, goes too high.
Load bearing.
So there's this load bearing wall you shouldn't have removed.
But anyway.
Yeah. Fairly common, like.
This is
we've already
we are close to what the community have. We are close to the best what the community have made.
Yeah. So yeah, 3rd place.
3rd place.
Does Sai have any notes?
Actually, 3rd place. We have actually 3.3.5. We have Hosso from Murakonda. Some was stolen from water.
Ah, so we have. Again,
we have seen this chamber probably.
We also have this chamber. We have definitely seen.
Mm-hmm.
The input chamber we have also probably seen. And it is area optimized. It looks like.
Wait, how much instructions does the 43 instructions and 70 cost. What?
Are we done here?
Yes.
I think
we are done.
yeah. Yeah. Third place?
Third place, Team Hello Jazian, 561 points. Some nights I stay up cashing in my bad luck, some nights I call it a draw, some night I wish that my lips could build a castle, some nights I wish they just fall off. I don't know what song this is, so I just read it, sorry.
And look at that output chamber. We have seen it before.
Mm-hmm. Ah, yes. Very similar to what Morakonda had, but Arm 1 is very unfortunate.
Oh yeah, it's very unfortunate. It needs to let Arm 4 be able to do one more grab, so it just, okay, let's just get it out of here before you do anything bad.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? It's like 20, and then you get 26. 26 just for that. The other arms are very nice though. Second place?
Second place. Let's move on then. Second place, Yesalan, 552 points. Almost minus 10. The inspiration for this soul comes from two sources: our Hexarm-driven P3 cycle soul iterations, and Fiesta's dual pipeline Sum 4 solution to the 2024 pre-tournament puzzle Simulacrum. The gist of thing is that Hexarms are nice for middling to fast rate, because they don't need to reset and can operate faster than P4. And Simulacrum showed us that parallel processing can be a very effective sum strategy, even if it makes for cost-heavy cycle slide souls. In fact, there are only two reasons these pipelines are not perfectly symmetrical. First, someone needs to output, and neither constructor arm can do that from where it naturally sits. Second, the input hex arm cannot easily spin backwards as the copper one does, which necessitates the set barely use a simple arm on the top left. We went with 1P for simplicity. We briefly considered 1-4P, pulling two inputs per loop but causing one grab to miss every fourth loop. But this first idea looked so clean that we decided not to bother. It's just a weekly after all. Yeah, lots of unfortunate one-use arms.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate.
One or two use arms in the disassembly chamber.
Yeah, it gets led up into conduit number 2, and then it grabs the tin there so you can make iron. This is pretty similar to what we've seen. So in first place.
Yeah, this is in first place. Goodbye
with
Galaxy.
A score of 500.
And
yeah,
it literally has the same layout.
but somehow it's 10 points better.
So welcome back to the Weeklies Goodbye Galaxy, and this one saves This one saves 7 points from the cycles and 3 points from the instructions. So yeah, Goodbye Galaxy is good enough. Best place for weekly.
Hey, that just shows you how evolution works, because evolution it's good enough. The good enough thing, it passes. So I guess everything else wasn't good enough. They have notes, oh, by the way. I think Goodbye Galaxy has notes, unless you already read them. I don't. Maybe you already did.
So, Goodbye Galaxy says, "Hello everyone, lots of things pulling at my attention lately, but I couldn't say no to production some. Hopefully I'm not too rusty."
No, you just smoked the old field. Don't worry.
Indeed.
Yeah, this is a different solution from Team Fiesta Lawrence solved for some reason, and it's 7 cycles faster, and it uses 3 fewer instructions.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how. It just is a better solve.
Mm-hmm.
I had a theory that it was about better sequencing of the events.
The pipelines aren't symmetrical. I see.
But yeah, those were some pretty neat solutions.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, pretty neat. Thanks everyone for showing interest in the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. Before I reveal the week 7 puzzle, I'm going to look at the showcase puzzles. There was only a handful, as I remember. X-Sucker 888. Ringus Fingers. Wait. My first sum attempt, which was more cycles focused. After making it, I felt like a cost focused solve would be better.
I like how the incomplete output just okay. So we're gonna rotate it we're gonna rotate it once, and then we're gonna do it again, and then you output.
Mm-hmm. So this would have been. Let's see. This would have been 639 some. Yes.
Alright.
X-Sucker was the one with the super chips, yeah. And let's move on to the next showcase. This is the last one I have. Just a little overlap. Indeed.
Yeah, just a little overlap.
Indeed. $426 some easy.
Just a little bit of overlap.
Only 8 tiles, and yeah.
Just a little bit, a tiny bit, not much, just a little bit. And here we see, actually, yeah, you can do the output that like that, but you just did a little bit of overlap, just a tiny bit. Do we have another one?
No, this is the. Wait a sec. I think Philfolk had something, but yeah, they do have. Oh, wait a second.
Let's look at it then, or is it giant?
Alright. Reload the Philfolk new solution 1. Maybe the first sword, something like that?
Yeah, this looks like a speed soul to me.
Yeah, speed soul finish it 1 minute after deadline. I see.
Just send a GIF in Discord because we're pretty close to wrapping this up. We just need to. I mean, week 7 puzzle is all that's left. Is it?
If you want to ship it, then you are welcome to do it, Biggie. If you want to send it to me, then you're welcome to do it. Yeah. All right. So now for the review of the week 7 puzzle. It is actually my puzzle. It is actually host puzzle from me.
Ooh, Hexton puzzle.
Breathable fluid.
What is this? Oh my god. What metrics?
And the metrics are RAG and ACG.
Elemental dual setting returns with a vengeance.
Alright, event is public right now.
That fluid sure is breathable. The lore is funny. Who was the person that left a 4-star review?
So yeah, this will be the week 7 puzzle for week 7. Sparse polling report in a circle. Yes, no bellows wheel.
Almost gives me what's that? Channeling crystal vibes. Oh well, yeah. That was a fun stream.
Thank you for staying. Thank you for commentating.
Yeah,
Yosh.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And this will be so. And I'll wrap up the stream here. Thank you for staying.
Yeah, nice.